Hello guys, Envy here. So something I want to talk about today has to do with a topic that has been in media. I was watching the WNBA finals recently, this last year. I'm a Phoenix Mercury fan, a distant fan, I should say. And I saw before one of the games, Tarasi, said something about the pay disparity between WNBA and the NBA. And I've heard all these talk about pay differences and pay disparity. Now, in everyday life, in the everyday workplace, there is a disparity in terms of how much WNBA female workers get paid compared to male workers doing the same job. But that doesn't really apply much in sports for a variety of reasons. And as much as I'm a fan of supporting equality and fairness and all that, I don't think that applies to female sports in many ways. And I'm gonna break it down for you guys, and you can gauge this yourself. For example, even in the NBA, even in male sports, all the players don't get paid the same. They get paid differently based on their value, okay, and how much they are worth to the team and how good they are as a player. LeBron James doesn't get paid the same amount as KCP, okay? There is a difference how much you get paid, way different. A rookie player doesn't get paid the same as a veteran players. So they are very, very different amount that people get paid. I think Dwight Howard, this year is getting somewhere around $1 million or so to play for the Lakers. Stephen Curry is getting $40 million, 40 times that. So it's all about value, how much you contribute, what you're worth, and all that. So there's something that's about how much you are worth to the team and to the league. That determines how much you get paid. Now, besides how much a player is worth, an athlete is valued, the WNBA revenue determines how much you're going to pay the players. I learned recently that the revenue for WNBA recently is somewhere around $60 million. Somewhere around $60 million. Steph Curry makes $40 million. LeBron James, they make around $40 million a year playing basketball. The revenue generated by the whole WNBA cannot pay LeBron James and Steph Curry together. It's all about value. The NBA, on the other hand, generates about 7 point something billion dollars a year. That is the argument there. If the WNBA players want to make more money, then they have to generate more money. They have to play better, catch more eyes to watch the. I think the viewership of the WNBA is around 200,000 per game or so, while for the NBA it's around 2 million per game. There's a huge difference. It's the NBA. The guys are more athletic. They can jump, they can dunk, they play better, they're faster. It means a lot more exciting. The tallest player in the WNBA, Brittany Griner, she barely dunks, 2 times a year in the season. And those factors affect how much fun people have watching them play. I mean, they're good shooters, but as far as, athleticism, there's a lot, left to desire by watching the game. So it's cuts beyond just the WNBA, pretty much any female sport. For example, in tennis, in all the majors now, the U.S., British, Australian Open, French, I think all the female and male players get paid the same in those majors. The champions get paid the same amount, and I think that's actually unfair. And I'm going to tell you why it's unfair. If the male and female tennis players play the same number of sets, I think they should be getting paid the same, but they do not. If the women, I think the men are getting ripped off now, okay, because the men play 5 sets and the women play 3 sets. And how does that affect revenue? If the men's games last between 3 to 5 hours and the women's game lasts anywhere between 45 minutes to 2 hours, there is more ad revenue being generated from TV and TV viewership and all that being generated by the men playing much longer and they do more work. I think it's unfair for the guys to work for 5 hours and get paid the same as women who only work for 2 hours. per game. So it's unfair. Now, players like Serena Williams, they can generate just as much revenue, more eyes on TV, more eyes in the stadium as any of the other male players. Serena Williams and her sister Venus Williams when they're in their prime, and Osaka, Naomi Osaka. I mean, these girls they can put butts on the seat in the stadium. Okay, they can fill up a stadium, guaranteed. But if they want to get paid as much as the guys, 5 sets, do it. I mean, like, what's the difference? Play 5 sets just like the men, and there will be no argument there. Okay, as far as how much revenue generates with viewership and people being coming to watch in the arena or in the stadium. So that is one thing as far as the women tennis goes. Okay, now not all the tournaments pay the men and the women equally. I think the men get somewhere around 1.66 times what the women get paid. Okay, so get a little bit more than what the women get paid. And I think that is fair based on how many sets they play and how many hours they're on the court. Okay, so I think that is fair, because if you look at 5 sets, best of 5 to best of 3, and you divide it out somewhere around, but 1.6 something. So it's somewhere around that that level. So I think that is fair as far as payment for the women. The women cannot be getting paid the same as men when they only play 3 sets compared to 5. If it's a tournament in which all players play 3 sets, the men play 3 sets, the women play 3 sets, I think they all should be getting paid the same. If they're not, that is unfair. If it's a tournament in which the men play 5 sets, but the women play a best of 3 sets, I think that the women shouldn't be getting paid as much as the men. They ought to bump their number of sets to 5 and be on an equal, level as the guys. So that's another thing there about pay in the sports. Now, if we look at something such as the women's football team, now they do make a lot of points in there as far as treatment. I think that if you're a national team, you should be getting treated fairly like the men's national team. You shouldn't be being put in poor hotels, less comfortable hotels, less gym equipment. You're not getting nice transit to and from stadium. Food. All those treatments, they have to be equal. But as far as how much you get paid, it always comes down to revenue. How much do you make? How much do you generate? If you're not generating the money, where are you going to get? Where is the money going to come from? Okay, if the WNBA is generating $60 million a year, why would you want to get paid $40 million? Like, where is the money going to come from? It's all based on revenue. Okay, so if you're not generating the revenue, you shouldn't be expected to get paid like a different league. If there were men in the WNBA playing with the WNBA, it doesn't make sense, and they're getting paid differently or getting paid more than the female players. Now you have a point, but they're not in the same league. They're in a different league. No pun intended. They're in a different league altogether, and how much their league generates is how it's going to determine how much you get paid. I think that's the first. I see these arguments being made online on TV talking about educating yourself. Like, it doesn't make sense. I know they want to get paid, and I wish they could get paid more. I love my sisters, I want them to, but you have to generate the revenue to get the payment. If you're not generating the revenue, you can't get that payment. I don't know where that money is going to come from. It doesn't make sense. So that has to be the number one thing. You want to play better, generate revenue, negotiate better contracts with TV, play more games. Okay, that's another thing. The WNBA plays how many games? They only have how many teams? I don't know what. 20 teams, maybe even less than that. 20 teams altogether. And they don't play that many games compared to the NBA. So all those things factor into it. Okay? So if there are more games being played, you negotiate better contract, better TV contract, play better, play more fun, try, become more athletic, dunk, whatever it takes to improve the play. People will want to watch your game, and that will generate more revenue, and you're gonna get paid more. But the one thing they can do is maybe add more teams and play more games. That's one of the things they could do to generate more revenue. And I mean it's I don't see how you could expect to get paid more just because the men are getting paid more. You have to generate revenue. The female football or soccer national team, U.S. Women's national team, had made a lot of good points first treatment, and I agree with them. As far as revenue, I think that the women's national team paid a lot of friendlies, and they probably generate a lot of revenue from those games. But I'm not sure they still generate as much as the men's team, because the men's team, they get more ad revenue, more better TV revenue, more people watch the games, or in stadium around the world. So it's all about how much you generate, and I think that on that level, they may not be there yet. But if there's any female team that can argue about getting higher pay, it would be the women's national team, because they do pay a lot of friendlies and generate a lot of revenue. But I still don't think it's as much as that of the men. And on top of that, it's based on how much you generate per game that you play, and without you matching the other men's version, you can't talk about getting paid the same. I don't know where these WNBA players get this idea from. I don't know what there's no basis for that argument. Like, they want to get paid the same as me, but there's no basis for it. Where is the money going to come from? That is what we have to think about first. So it comes down to that, and that's my take. If you have any comments, put it down in the comment section, and please do subscribe to me. I've got a lot more coming, and I want to know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm way off? I'm being fair, so let me know. Comment, and please subscribe.